Hey, how's it going, everybody out there? This is a tutorial for those that are new to the Mac or new to video editing with iMovie. So let's go ahead and dig in now, and I'll show you some of the basics on how to get you up and running with the wonderful free software that comes with every Macintosh called iMovie. And let's go ahead and do a version check. We're going to do a version check to kind of see what's going on. So we're using 10.0.5, but this tutorial will be pretty much the same for, I think, 10.0 and beyond until they do any drastic changes, which I don't anticipate. Usually they push it a little bit here, a little bit there every year or so, but I think we're good to go for a year or so with this tutorial, forward or back. And we're streaming this video, and we're recording this video November 2014. So we'll call this 2014-2015 iMovie tutorial. Let's go ahead and close this one up and get started. The first thing I'm going to talk about is something that's a little bit confusing here. It's the whole event versus movie thing. So if you look here on the left side here, you'll notice that there's something with a star. These are events. And within each event, you can have movies, or you can actually have trailers too. So starting one within an event is as simple as actually clicking on the big plus button here saying create. So let's do a movie. I'm going to create a movie. And you have themes here, but I always start with a blank one. But if you want to actually mess around with some of the themes here to make it quick and simple, you can do that. And I'll probably talk about that at a later date. But I figured that the no theme, simple. Let's do my movie $9.99. We'll call it something like that. And then you can select which actual event it goes in. We'll go ahead and put it in the YouTube event, okay? So you'll notice in this YouTube event, there's actually the My Movie $9.99 that has nothing in it. Then there's the V8 911 that actually has some clips in it. But both of them do not have anything within the timeline down here at the bottom. So that is how to create an event. So you have an event. You can rename them too by just single clicking on them. And then within the actual events themselves, you can create individual movies. And the way to get to them is by clicking them on here. So let me show you an example of something that will also confuse you here. So I'm going to left click and drag over a section of video, and we'll pull it down here. And remember, this one that I'm showing you now will have the sun in it. Yeah. So let me click to scroll. Okay, it has a little bit of that sun here. So now I'm going to actually switch over to the other movie, and it's gone. Switch back by double clicking on each. And now I'll actually, let me do kind of a front-on look here so we know distinctly that it's actually a different clip. Okay, so again, within the YouTube event, we have two movies. We have the My Movie $9.99, which is this clip here that has the front view, and it looks like there's a Jag next to it and an Aston Martin. And then the V8 911, which is just the profile view in the sun. Okay, so what used to confuse me was the event versus the movie. Which one is which? So basically, events are ways to categorize movies. Okay, let's move on. Let me just delete the clip in this one and the clip in this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the My Movie 99. So I'll make sure our double click is highlighted, and my timeline here is actually empty. So to customize your timeline and the look and feel of iMovie, you can, if you notice right here, when the crosshairs the horizontal crosshairs, you can actually increase the size or decrease the size of the area. So customize it the way you actually want. I kind of like mine pretty much in the middle. And also here on the left here, if you click on this, you can control the clip size, which we'll show you a little bit later. And actually the waveform, which is an audio imprint. So actually, let me go ahead and dump a file in here for you. again, left clicking, dragging, selecting the point you want, and you left click and then just drag it down. Or another section, let's highlight it and see that plus button. You can do that too with a fancy snazzy little animation. So now that we're on the clip here, let's go ahead and click that item over here on the right side, the film strip looking item. And we can actually adjust the size of the clips to bigger or smaller. And then you can actually check, and you'll notice that the sound waveform is actually there, which I like there. And a little bit later I'll talk more about audio, but let's keep it there. And I'm going to reduce the size of the clip. I think I'll keep it kind of a little bit past halfway just for this tutorial so you can actually see what I'm doing. Maybe a little bit higher. I normally wouldn't keep it this big. I would probably be more like here so I can see multiple things that I'm doing. But for the purpose of this video, I think it's a good idea to actually demonstrate and show you what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to start from scratch again. You can scrub. Moving your mouse through the video here is called scrubbing. And what the best thing to do is you don't want to drag your whole clip. But if you double click, it'll select the whole clip. And you can click and then drag it down there. Or you can hit the plus sign. But that's kind of inefficient. You want to actually, most likely, you want certain parts of the movie. You're going to cut them up. So the best thing to be efficient about is kind of look to see where you want, what you want to be on there in certain parts. So for example, I definitely want this engine shot because it's not often that you actually see a Chevrolet V8 in a Porsche 911. Okay, so let's see. I'm clicking with my left mouse. I'm dragging. And I'm kind of showing the engine bay here. Big old Chevy V8 in the back of a 911. I'm not sure that's the best thing to do, but hey, why not? It's his car. He can do what he wants. Okay, so now I've actually selected that clip. Maybe I don't want to start this soon. So if you notice when I hover over the yellow brackets, I guess you can call them, you can actually expand or contract them to the size of video you want. And I think I want it from when it starts to zoom in, like right there. So let's go ahead and drag it down here. So now we have one clip here. And again, we actually can control the size by using the slider here or in here. So let's add another clip. And which one do I want? Let me just take another anywhere. And again, press the plus or just drag it in. I'll hit the plus this time. I think I'll make the clips a little bit smaller so we can see them. Okay, so since this is a basic tutorial, what do we need to do? We need to be able to get the video, put it into the timeline. We need to maybe make a couple chops here and there. We want to put a transition or something, and maybe even add a sound or some music or something to it, and maybe control the volume. So that's what we're going to do. First thing, let's just say I want to do a cut or a split. And say right about here, if you right click or option click, you can see there's a command B or a split clip. And you can go ahead and split the clip. And now you'll notice there's actually two pieces of video. But if you played it without doing anything right now, you wouldn't even notice the cut there. It's just represented in the software here. And let's make another one kind of in the middle here. We'll just split it for the fun of it. So now we have four little pieces of video. And with that, you can actually put some transitions in there. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll click on the transition menu here. And I think coming into the video, I want kind of like a zoom type thing. So I'll click and drag that to the front. And now if you look at the play window on the right, it kind of zooms in. If you double click on the transition, you can actually control the duration. So maybe I want it to be a longer one. So let's do 2.0. And we're going to apply. So now the zooming in will be a lot longer, relatively speaking. And say maybe in between these little splits here, we want to do just like a cross dissolve. So it fades into one and fades out the other. We'll leave it at 1 second. Or maybe we want, let's pick another one. Let's do a little swapperoo right here. So swap one for the other. And then maybe we'll do like a cube or something. Basically, I don't use very many of these complex ones. I usually use the zoom to come in, and then I'll do like a cross dissolve. And then at the end, I almost always use a fade to black, which I'll demonstrate here. You notice it fades to black. So again, if you want longer duration, maybe you want, let's not do 3. We'll do like 1.5. We'll apply it here. And then you'll notice that the fade will start a little bit sooner. Okay, so we've successfully added transitions to our movie. Now maybe you need a title. There's a title right underneath the transition link here. And there's 2 ways to use a title. You can do a title that's on black screen, or you can do it over the video. So let's do one that's kind of in the by itself here. So you drag it right in front until you see it purple. And then when you click on it or double click on it, you can actually edit the text. We'll call it just front title, or and again, you can customize here by shrinking the size, changing the font, bolding, not bolding, italics, outline, and you can change the color of the font. Nah, let's just do, maybe let's go back to white. Okay. And then this check mark is that you're accepting it, or you can just click outside of it. Okay. But I think I want it a little bit bigger than that because it's a title. So we'll do 124. That's cool. And we'll just click that to accept it. So you'll notice we have a 3.1 second clip. Oh, a title, I should say. And then it goes into our first transition and starts the video. So if we wanted to make a title or some text that's over top of our video as it's playing, maybe we want like a, let's do like a subtitle or a lower third. Let's grab this one, and you drag it right on top. And you can expand it or contract it any way you need to. Double click on it, you can actually edit it. We'll just say V8 in a 911 question mark. And this part of the video footage here is probably not the best thing to do it in white. So possibly we'll do it in black, or maybe even you want to do it in something like yellow. Maybe we want a little bit of outline too, why not? Again, up to you the way you want it to make it look. Another thing you can do is actually control the justification here. So center justified, right justified, etc. Okay. And again, this little text title thing here can be actually moved around. It'll show up wherever you see the purple section here. So you notice it fades in and stays on there until it's actually, the tape head here is actually passed. But let's see, we can move it over here. You can drag it to cover the whole clip itself if you want. Up to you, Get those creative juices going, I guess, and put it where you like. Depending on the actual transition you chose. It might come in slower, it might come in faster, etc. Depends. This is kind of a fade in one, so the longer it is, the longer it's going to take to actually come in. So I'm going to go ahead and, I guess I'll leave that here, but I'm going to shorten it because it's way too long for the type of transition it is. I want it to be more toward the front, like this. There we go. Okay. So we've put titles in the front. We've put titles on the footage itself. The only difference is one is in the timeline, one is kind of on top of it. next, let's do a little bit of audio editing. So you'll notice there's a waveform here. And again, we turned it on over here by clicking that little checkbox. One thing you can also do, which I'll demonstrate, you can detach the video completely. Right click on it and click detach audio from video, basically. And then now you'll see it at the bottom. I'm going to undo it here. Depends on how deep you want to get into the audio. But usually if I'm just doing a relatively simple video, I just leave it where it is. And 9 times out of 10, I pretty much either want to turn it all the way off or I want to control higher or lower, depending on if I'm putting music on or not. I'll do another video a little bit later, which will be focusing on the advanced audio editing, which it'll come out a little bit later. So just subscribe to the channel and you'll see it in your subscription feed on the old YouTubes. But for now, we're just keeping it simple. Okay, so again, if you want no sound at all, you just drag it all the way down. If you want some sound, you can control the percentage, 100% versus all the way up to 400%. But be careful, you'll notice the colors change here from yellow to red. That means you're peaking. So you probably want to stay just underneath there. And again, when you're editing, you can use speakers. Right now, I'm not using speakers because it'll get into the audio of the mic I'm recording with and just cause all kinds of haywire. So if you detach the audio here, you actually have these controls that are kind of these circular controls, and you'll notice that it actually will fade in and out of the clip here. And this allows you to kind of fade in, fade out, or ramp up the sound of the audio or ramp down. And again, you can also go up and down with the level of the volume too. So you have a pretty good control of what you want to do. Again, if we want to get more specific, we'll do that a little bit later, but this is pretty much good enough for the basics here. Okay. What else do we want to do? Maybe we'll want to add a sound clip. I think it's a good idea. We'll go into the sound effects. And then luckily or awesomely, Apple puts a whole bunch of them here so you can kind of look around. Maybe you want, what do we want? Maybe you want like a cartoon hay or something. So you can grab that and pretty much put it anywhere you want in the clip. And again, with that one, same thing. You can control the volume of it here. You can control the position of it where you need it to go. It'll drop in its place once it finds it. So if you want to shrink the size of the video now, we can actually, you'll notice why I prefer, when you start to get heavier and heavier on the layers of sound and video, you actually need a little bit more room to kind of see what you're doing. So you can either shrink the size of the clip or increase the size of the timeline here. Okay. So we've done pretty well here. We got the basics, but I think I need, I think I kind of want to show you a little bit of other stuff we could do. So possibly, maybe you have a picture that you want to kind of overlay on top of this video here. And I kind of want to do that. And I just happened to, let's go ahead and import an image here. Let's go to my desktop. And I believe I took a screenshot. Yep, there's one right there. So I'm going to import it. Now I have an image here. So what we can do is we can add this as a piece of video. And you'll notice that it's moving. What this is the Ken Burns effect. So if you put any picture into a video, iMovie movie, it's standard that it actually does this kind of Ken Burns effect. You can actually increase the length of it by grabbing the end of it, left clicking and dragging longer. You can notice the time there, 13 seconds, 9 seconds, etc. So the clip will actually move, and it looks kind of good, but sometimes you don't want it to move. So what you're going to do is double click on it and go to this button here, the cropping tool. And now you have some options. You can fit, you can crop the fill, or you can Ken Burns. And Ken Burns lets you choose a starting point and an end point, basically. you have two rectangles, and what you can do is kind of figure out how big and how much zoom and how much movement you want it to do. So start here, finish here, and I think that looks good. For now, I'll demonstrate that, but let's go see what it looks like. And you'll notice that it actually moves. And of course, with the right kind of picture, you can make it pretty good looking film, I guess. I believe Ken Burns did a Western documentary with almost 100% pictures using the Ken Burns and then some voiceover dialogue and stuff like that. So, but say you don't want the Ken Burns, you can hit fit, and it's just going to be the picture. Or you can crop and control the size of the actual image itself by dragging. One of the limitations of iMovie is that it kind of maintains the aspect ratio. So you're pretty much stuck with this box. I mean, you can get bigger and smaller, but you can't go in and out and customize completely. With Final Cut Pro 10, you can definitely do that. So that's kind of one of the limitations. So there's some limitations built in here that Apple gives it to you for free, of course, with a purchase of a Mac. But if you want to get, kick it up a notch and do all kind of prosumer or professional type stuff, you got to pay the $299 to get the Final Cut Pro 10, which when you're ready, I think it's a bargain when it comes to video editing software. Okay, I think that's good. We'll keep that. So now we have transition to a image that is fixed. Okay, so pretty cool. It's not moving, it's staying there. And of course, you could put a title on it or something. But say you wanted to do picture in a picture. You take the same image here and just drag it on the top here. But right now, if you let the movie play, it just switches to that picture in the Ken Burns effect and then switches back depending on the duration. It was at 4 seconds. So let's say we make it a 5 second. 6, I'll make it 6. Again, if you want it not to move around, you could actually hit this. You can fit it, or you can crop the fill like that. Let's do that. Let's accept that. But say you want to do a little bit of picture in a picture, which most people, I think, wouldn't mind doing. What you're going to do is double click on that, and you have a drop down here that gives you an option to use blue or green screen, side by side, or picture in a picture. We're going to pretty much ignore all of them except for picture in a picture, because I think this is kind of something that most people want the ability to do in a kind of a beginner's video editing class. So now you notice we have picture in a picture. So we got this little picture in a picture, and of course you can zoom it out, put it where you want, drag it anywhere you want, and it's going to display as long as it's in the editing timeline. So it comes in, stays there for about 6 seconds, and then it goes away. So you notice we have options to change the transition. You can do dissolve, you can do zoom, or you can do swap. I kind of like the zoom because it kind of comes in, and then when it's finished, it goes bye-bye. Okay, but in this video, it doesn't really stand out very well. So what we can do is we can actually control the size of the border. So let's have a look at this one. Now we have a little bit more border, or you can go thicker here. Let's make sure we're selected. Okay, now we have a much bigger, and we have a black border that kind of makes it stand out. Or again, you can control the color. So if you want to do bright, or do you want to do white, you can do that. So let's have a look and see what it looks like when it's white. It zooms in with a bigger border on it. Looks pretty cool. Other options, you can actually put a little drop shadow on, which you'll see at the bottom here shows up pretty well. So if you want to control the length of the zoom, the speed of the zoom, you can control it here with the seconds as well. Well, it looks like we're doing pretty good here. I think that's pretty good. We'll keep it like that. So it comes in, and there's a little drop shadow. Actually, I'm not a fan of that. Let me take out the drop shadow. I don't like that. But I do like the border. I think I'm going to keep that border. Okay. Maybe a little bit shorter. And I think I want to make it a little bit smaller so it doesn't cover up the car. And let's start by here and we'll have a look at it. The duration is good enough. Yeah, we're going to make it. So it didn't actually cover up the car I was featuring, but you can use your imagination and you know, imagine what you might do. You might be showing a picture of yourself or your friend, or maybe there was another clip you had that kind of matched it, or a picture, or a you could also do a graphic, you know, maybe like a cloud or with a word in it like oh my god or LOL or something. Just, you know, use your imagination. So okay, let's get back to finishing up this movie here. Actually, transition, I gotta put my fade to black right here. Okay, so we have a title in the front. And we have a clip with a transition into a clip with the title on it, over top of it. Then we have a bit of sound here that we added to it, and we actually removed the sound from this clip, so it's down to 0. Actually, we detached it, so this is the sound for the clip here, and then we added another one because I wanted to have a little bit more control here. Again, I'll do a separate audio editing, like an advanced audio editing in iMovie that we can that you'll see how to get intricately intimate with the audio, I guess you could say. Okie dokie. So I think we're good to go. And now the last thing for a beginner's course is you made the movie. Now you want to publish it, or share it. And what you do is you hit this share button here. And I like to, depending on where I'm putting the video, I usually only use File or YouTube. And right now for this example, I'll use File. So I'll click on File. We can change the name here. My wonderful movie. And then you can control the actual resolution of it. I'll just keep it 720 for now. And then we'll hit you can actually add tags to iMovie, cars, Mac. We'll just do that. We'll hit next. Pick where you want to save it at. I'll save it to my desktop so I can find it. I'll hit save. And now it's starting to render. And the way you find out the progress, over here at the top right corner, there's actually a kind of a timer. And it gives you progress on what's happening graphically. And if you want to close it, you can do that as well. So I'm going to spare you the waiting times, and I'll go ahead and cut to this being finished, and then we'll have a look at it. Our wonderfully simple, funny movie. Okay, and we're just about done. We are done. You get this little dialogue here saying you can either, it's successful, you can either close it or show it. So we'll close. I'm going to minimize iMovie here. And I'm going to have a look at my wonderful movie, which is right here. Let's double click on that. I'm going to turn the sound down and just play it, just to give you an idea of what we did. That zoom there, we put the title here. We had the front title as well. We did a couple transitions. One right there. And another one right there. And we did this picture in a picture with a border on it. It was an image, and you can do video or image, it doesn't matter. And then we did a fade to black at the end that kind of ended the movie. So now it's ready to start again, but we're not going to start again. So that is iMovie in a nutshell, the beginner version. Again, we're going to have some more videos coming out with a little bit more advanced editing, especially the audio, because I think with video, audio is often forgotten about. And I think you can have terrible video with really good audio and people will forgive you. But if you have really good video but crappy audio, people are not so forgiving. So I think the next one we're going to do is definitely going to be how to edit, like an advanced editing course. And then after that, probably going to do one on some tips and tricks for YouTubers to making your video kind of stand out against all the millions of other videos that are out there. Okay, guys and ladies, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, go ahead and Hit me up in the question box below. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that thumbs up if you're happy. If you're not, hit it up anyways. We really appreciate it. Okay, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.